My name is Melonie Nielsen. I have been a massage therapist or body worker and yoga teacher for over 15 years. I practice a form of bodywork called structural integration, or known by its other names, Rolfing, Heller work, or somatherapy. Many people come to me because they have pain or feel stiff or misaligned and restricted in some way. Many of these symptoms are coming out of larger held postural patterns that are stored in our fascia of the body. Structural integration is unique in the way it views and works with the body. A chiropractor works with the bony structure and massage therapist works with the musculature, but a structural integrator works with the fascia, which is the web of tissue that binds or covers the muscles and holds our bony structure in place. This becomes more of a whole body approach. Instead of looking only at symptoms and rubbing or adjusting where it hurts, a SI practitioner is interested in looking at the entire body and how things are interconnected via the fascial system. Imagine this as your body, with the wooden dowels as the bones and these rubber bands as the fascial tissue that is holding this shape and separating the bones from one another. Any force or movement, strain on one part is distributed throughout the whole to the other parts. The one part affects all the parts. Since muscles are bound in this fascia, and fascia is interconnected throughout the whole body, even one muscle that continually shortens will eventually drag upon and shorten and deform its neighbor, potentially leading to visible and problematic postural habits or patterns. For instance, that chronic neck pain could be a symptom of a cause that is far down the line elsewhere in the body. Imagine if you had a hip that was higher than the other. That hip would start to leave this side, one side of the body more shortened, the tissues drawing together, the other side more elongated. That shortened side might start to continue to pull down on the neck on that side, leaving one side of our neck more elongated, the other side more short. Those poor neck muscles are but the victim, and the culprit, who nobody is paying attention to, is all the way down in the body someplace else. This holistic look at relationship between the parts and how they relate to the neighboring systems not only can help with solving chronic or acute pain, but also restore balance, alignment, ease, and function to the whole body. This fascia that holds and forms our structure responds to stresses on the body through an adaptive process of shortening, of lengthening, of thickening, and tightening of these tissues. Meaning to say that injuries, scar tissue, repetitive misuse, overuse, or underuse of our body can lead to patterns that get stuck in our structure. These tissues conform more and more to our everyday postural habits, creating a pattern that we get stuck in our body. Right. So a structural integration practitioner will look for shortnesses in the fascia of the body. So we will do a detailed body map of your body each session that we have. So as I look at Amelia's body here, I'm going to make a picture from the feet all the way up to the head. And I'm just going to see of what seems a little different side to side. Where does it seem to be pulls or shortnesses in the musculature and the structure, even in how the bones are being held in place. So if I look at her feet, they're very nicely aligned straight forward. I look next at her arches of the feet, and I see that they're coming in, they're falling a little bit, they're collapsing in medially, more so on the right side. It's her right side that she complains of issues in her body, and more so the hip, pelvis, and the shoulder and the neck as her main complaint areas. So I look at the medial tilts, that concerns me as part of her structure. As this foot on the right side is medially tilting in, she has a tendency to also rotate the tibia inward. And that's starting to get a little pull and a rotating inward of her right hip as well. There's a shift over to her right side as well that makes this side of her body a little shorter. So this is a great importance and concern for me as I practice on her, is to get more space and lift and length in that side body, to also support her shoulder girdle, which tends to drop down from this kind of dropping down into her foot quality that she has. So more length, more work here, to give more support for that whole shoulder girdle will be some of our focus of our work. And I think from the work of the feet all the way up to the hip will greatly support the whole neck too. So structural integrated body work is a very deep form of body work that encourages the client to do movement while we are doing the body work. That movement encourages more of the breaking up of adhesions within the fascial system, and it's also a great connector from mind to body as well. So you'll be seeing me work on Amelia, and she's going to be moving her body while I'm tracking into the tissues to go deeper into the tissues. Some of the work will be on the table in various different positions. Some of the work is going to be on a bench, and some of it will be just in between. We'll be looking at her posture and her structure and how things are changing. So go ahead and lay on the table with your feet hanging off the edge of the table. SI bodywork is given in a series of a minimum of 3, or optimally 12 sessions that build on each other. Each of these sessions lasts an hour to an hour and a half. We meet once a week or once every 2 weeks for optimal accumulated effects. And have you draw your toes back towards your face. And the heel stretching out long. Good, now try to do that with the knee a little bit bent. Yeah. And then of course, tell me when it's way too much pressure. How are you doing? Okay. So I'm just waiting for a feel of the tissue to soften, to know that there's some changes underneath. As she draws her toes back, it starts to kind of stretch out and open up the fascia that's been shortened, restricted underneath my hands. She can gauge the intensity of the work too as she draws her toes back and as she does the movement. This whole side body. Arm straight up to the ceiling. Good, tip the head back again a little bit. Nice. And keep reaching up from the shoulder to the fingers, like you're growing this long out where my hand is. Good, keep doing that, and now take it down to your hip. So it's up and over as much as you can. And bow the head to the heart. Bow the heart itself. And kind of think up and over a barrel. Nice. Keep going. The opening and freeing of these shortened, restricted tissues allows for new movement patterns to form. The exciting thing is, months to years after a round of SI series work, your body can still be living into these new changes and forming new integrated patterns of movement. The work of SI really begins after your series has ended, as you live into the new you. Great. And then just very slowly pausing and rolling up each segment. So coming up this part, stacking, and then this part, stacking, this part, and then lifting and lengthening through the top of the head. Work. And we have the client come standing, and we just check to see how different the tissues are, how open, how held, or differently held the structure is after those little bits of body work. We might even do movement cues with her standing. With the foot being dropped and the knee drawing in, I'm concerned with how she's tracking her legs. So I want her to do a simple exercise of just bending and straightening the legs. And I'm looking to see if she's tracking over her second and third toe, how well her arches are responding to that. And I can encourage a little bit of more movement there. So if she tends to drop this knee inward, I can encourage a little bit more outward rotation. Time and gravity can wreak havoc on us the more out of alignment we are. Dr. Rolfe, the originator of structural integration, believed that the body organizes itself around a center vertical line. And the more in alignment with our center line, the better the body is to respond with maximum efficiency to all of life's demands and the constant influence of gravity on our structure. The more out of alignment or disorganized around our center line we are, the more energy is needed to stabilize, and the greater the mechanical wear and tear is on our body. The work of structural integration is designed ultimately to change your alignment without you needing to try to change it or hold your posture in a certain form, or even have to think about how you're holding your posture. Once the fascial restrictions are liberated, the natural lift and buoyancy that you get from the work brings the body closer to this natural center line, and it makes holding your posture and gravity effortless. Going through the 12 series of structural integration is very interactive and an educational experience. You can gain great insights into your body. Through this work, we will imprint better patterns with the goal of bringing balance and resilience and freedom to break free from old patterns. In this work, you take an active role in your healing, and it can be a highly empowering process. I look forward to helping you uncover your true potential, freedom, and expression in your body.